What's going on, everyone? We're back with another episode of the Association After Hours, just fresh off a crazy game ending, which we'll dive into as you body. We're here again. And obviously, we have the super NBA analyst over here who I don't know where exactly he is. He's because he's a world traveler. Anush, but what's going on, man? I see you got the Wizards hat, bro. We buying some new stock or what?
Yeah, I was at a Wizards game, and this was a free giveaway. I thought it was sick. SpongeBob, Washington. So I pulled
That's
this out, and
clean.
obviously they got the number one pick, so we're
Good
we're
time.
rooting for him. We're rooting for him. Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas now visiting my brother in between jobs, so that's a little life update for you.
Sure, man. Man is extra humble, but he's doing big things. I'll let him share what he shares. But man, okay, dude. I think we had the tale of two stories. These last two game fives. Yeah, so like I think last I'm just telling we have our other Mr. Light Beam who's trying to join a little bit, so we're just coordinate that. But nevertheless, what is, I'm not gonna lie, man, I miss having a lot more games to watch. The
Yep.
challenge with like, seeing some of these series and people checking the combo early is you only got a couple series left. Hey man, I know you're Mr. Game 7 because you clutch, but you also love watching Game 7. So I'm hoping we get at least one of them compared to the sweeps. But damn, the Wolves got a good old spanking last night, and then hey, looks like the Cavs Pistons series has actually started because the road team won. They broke the curse. So I personally didn't get a chance to watch too much of the Cavs one, but why don't we kick it off from yesterday's game? And I think again, a lot of the same themes we talked about just continue to prevail, where it's just like the Wolves hang in there. They come up for air, and the Spurs just turn it up a notch. And they go from a tie game to a 10-point lead. That turns into a 20-point lead. And then the rest is history. But I guess what stood out to you? And do you see the Wolves making any adjustments to where this goes back to game 7? Or do you feel confident that this is a wrap with some extra guac on Friday?
Yeah. So it was interesting yesterday. I mean, obviously Wemby was suspended for the prior game, or not suspended. He was kicked out because of the elbow, right? So you knew he was going to come in with a little extra hot sauce in the beginning, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
Within the first 6 minutes of the game, he had like double-digit points and double-digit rebounds. I think it was like 16, 11 before 6 minutes
Damn.
into the game. So they set the tone early. Just before getting into the nitty-gritty details, yeah, overall they controlled it from the beginning. There was a little stretch right in the third quarter where the Timberwolves came back a little bit, and we were like, "Oh wow, it's going to be a game." But then you blink your eye, and they shot back up again. So the Spurs, they knew they needed this one. They were kind of focused. Wemby especially needed to come back and exert himself because obviously he was gone last game. So he's got a little killer edge in him. We like to see that. They dominated and they took their home court.
Yeah, I think we called it on Monday. It was to no surprise the Spurs were going to come out pissed off because, even their coach was like, dude, Wemby's it's 1v10. Like no one's there to protect him. It seems like, obviously the Wolves were going to cheap shot it legally where they could to muck it up. And you knew he was going to be pissed. And yeah, I had no doubt the Spurs were going to win it. I am surprised that the Wolves, what's going on, Viggy? Mr. Light the
What's that,
Beams
man?
making his appearance. The Wolves are a veteran team, dude. I just don't get the lack of urgency to start these games. It still just kind of feels like they're deferring to Ant, which is, I mean, obviously Ant's Ant, but like, I just don't see them like just starting off good. It always feels like they're behind the eight ball. They got to play catch up, and they're playing harder than they need to. It's like they're not working smart. And so the other takeaway that just looked like again, Gobert. No one can guard 1v 101, but Gobert is just getting cooked right now. And I think McDaniels continues to get foul trouble. And then Julius Randle, like we called it, like he's gonna have to play big for them to have a chance. And he had a pretty doozy of a game. I don't know. I think maybe the 2 days helps between the two, but I don't know. It's a little tough, man. This looks like it might be over on Friday. But Viggy, what's your thoughts on the Spurs Wolves series right now?
I mean, hats off to what you call it, Andy Edwards for like coming back from an injury. Came back a lot sooner than people expected. He's been balling out. The Timberwolves are one of those teams who are very physical, feisty. They can create some trouble. I think they've done that in this series against the Spurs. But I think the biggest weakness the Spurs had coming into this series was that they were inexperienced. Outside of Harrison Barnes and De'Aaron Fox, they didn't really have any playoff experience. And even De'Aaron Fox was one season, first round, and so forth. But that hasn't been as much of a weakness in the series. I think the Spurs, just by virtue of having Wemby on that team and everyone around them who can like do everything that they can do, whether it's like getting those rebounds, the stretching the floor, scoring five, like players 3 points, right? Like De'Aaron Fox doesn't have to go for 20, 30 points on this roster. He can score 15 points and the Spurs can still win. So the roster makeup is really good for the Spurs. I'm actually going to lean in towards giving them a chance against the Thunder too. I think they're going to pass the Wolves, and I think they got a pretty good shot against the Thunder as well if they can stay as confident as they are. They're not showing any signs of any trepidation. They're not timid. They're going out there and they're playing. They took a couple of hits, but they took them on the chin and they'll come back. I'm feeling pretty comfortable backing the Spurs to have a good shot at making the finals.
Yeah, I guess some stats to throw at you guys. I don't know if this surprises you or not, but the Wolves only shot 6 less times than the Spurs. 83 shots, 89. Obviously, the difference was 15 more makes for the Spurs. The Spurs only made 2 more threes, 11 out of 32 compared to 9 out of 33, but the Wolves shot more free throws. So, you would think given what just happened with Wemby, the refs might do the Spurs a solid. They actually shot 3 more free throws, and they had less turnovers. So, I mean, again, I know the Spurs came out and blitzed them, but if you're looking at it, you would think the Spurs would have overwhelmingly beat them in these other key stats. They didn't. So, I think potentially one thing that surprised me looking at the numbers here is Bones Highland didn't really get much run. I think again, this goes back to I understand like the coaches have their schemes, but like you gotta adjust when you just can't buy bucket. Why would you not have someone who's instant offense just to inject to give a different look? So I don't know. I'm hopeful that we can have a game 7. I think this series has been good so far, but I think this is really more of a test for the Spurs. I mean, they closed out the Blazers at home, which is good. But I think the real test is can you close out a veteran team on the road on your way to I think the prediction we all had was it's going to be the Spurs Thunder. I still think it is, but the Wolves might just get one more game and we have a classic showdown. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. On
You can
the
never,
on
no,
the San
sorry, go ahead.
Antonio, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say never count out the Wolves, right?
Go for it. I promise.
I'm just going to say never count, right? Like you only use like one guy to really take over a game, and if you can do it 2 more times, then the Wolves have got it.
Yeah, I mean, what I saw on the San Antonio side, so you kind of split it up into offense and defense, right? So offensively, the combination of the guard play as well as Wembanyama it just sets them apart, right? We knew that coming in, and you were thinking it's like, oh, well, the Timberwolves have really good defenders, especially on the perimeter, and also Gobert. I mean, he can muster it up for every now and then, especially after what he did to Jokic last round, right? So had hopes. This time around, it's just, I don't know if it was the foul trouble. The guards were doing very, very well. Fox was not as much, but Castle had a lot of good running lanes that he took and was able to make shots as well as, I mean, again, enough cannot be said about Harper. Harper is just playing insane. A 20-year-old rookie in the second round of the playoffs coming in for 20, 25 minutes a game, just taking over, and this is, again, not against a team that is a bunch of slouches. They have perimeter dogs on the opposite team. His center of balance, his strength, his ability to just attack instead of just abandoning the drive whenever there's a little bit of contact. It's just really, really, really impressive for someone as young as he is. Down low, Wembanyama just had his way with Gobert, right? So that's the Spurs on offense. But on defense, there's a couple of things. Castle is playing up in position and guarding Julius Randle in this series way more than you'd think. And that's very impressive, especially for a second-year guard. Randle, I mean, whatever you think of him, he is a little more stout, and he does bully people that are younger than him, smaller than him in the block, and is able to get a lot of low post points. Every time I looked up, Castle is holding his own and keeping Randle off the offensive glass as well as just out of the paint very effectively. That is insane. Especially, again, young player. He's a guard going up against a seasoned veteran. Obviously, Julius Randle a little on the other side of his peak, but still very impressive. The Timberwolves needed Julius Randle this series, and Castle's been instrumental in that. So again, Castle always has Wembanyama behind him, so you have to factor that in, but mighty impressive.
Sure, I was gonna say this, even though they're not all freshmen, This Spurs gives me a lot of Fab Five energy from Michigan, where he's got some dogs. They don't know no better, and they're going after it. And I think they might just be, assuming their GM does not pull a Sam Presti again. He won a ring, but he did him dirty in 2012. They're going to be around for a while. I think, like, to your point, dude, these guys do not play like they're the first time in the playoffs. Again, Castle has won a national championship. Harper played, like, they played high level playoff, like, March Madness games, but it's not the same. But they don't really know any better, so they're going to just go through a brick wall, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Harper actually, I don't think his team even made the March Madness tournament. Again, that would be still a very big mystery. I don't know how a team with Harper and Ace Bailey didn't do anything. It's crazy. But that's, again, it's just even more impressive. His dad, he used to be a dog on the Chicago Bulls back in the day. So it's, that's why, I mean, these are off-season questions after whatever happens, but you got to let him go a little bit. And it just makes you think, is Fox a trade chip versus is he a guy that should be coming off the bench and giving Harper more minutes? You bring Harper on a little bit more slowly, but do you need to? He's so good already. So those are things you got to think about. The only caveat with Harper is that he still hasn't developed a great three-point shot. So that's something that they probably are looking at. And once he develops that, I think, he's just going to be an all-around offensive stud, all NBA player.
Do they have, I guess, are they spoiled with draft picks too? Or I don't know what the Spurs chef's of assets looks like right now, but
I don't know off the top of my head, but they're not one of the teams that are deep in the hole. It's not like Phoenix, who has no control till like 2030. You know what I mean? It's not like that. So they still have some stuff. And that's, it's funny. Everybody's like, oh, San Antonio is a small market team and stuff like that. San Antonio is like the 7th biggest city in the United States, which nobody really knows. But I mean, they have a huge population. Obviously, they're still a small market for whatever reason. But they got a lot of fans. They have some loyal fans. They have generations of winning basketball. So they expect excellence, and they're giving it to them.
I think you were trying to say something. Go ahead, man. I'm fast to.
I mean, like, I agree about the Harper thing. He's not playing like a rookie at all. Some of the decision making that we're seeing on the court has just been exemplary for someone that young. As far as like the whole Fox Harper thing, I think they're not in a rush right now. I think keep Harper on the bench for like one more year, or let him come through. Give Fox a chance to prove himself, I guess. But that's going to be an interesting predicament. It's kind of like the OKC situation from like the 2010 to 2012. We have to wait and see how that happens with that. But I agree with the whole championship pedigree of the city. I think the whole Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, that era kind of set things, which is on a different trajectory for the city of San Antonio for basketball. So French connection. Tony Parker was from France. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I just messed up his name. Wemby's also from France. City that produced international players, right? Manu Ginobili from Argentina and so forth. So it's a global city in basketball terms because you have some global icons go down there and play too. So I wouldn't really look at them as a small market in NBA anymore.
I think we gotta blame Charles Barkley for flaming the women in San Antonio for all those years. So I think that's some of it. And excuse my ignorance, but is Mitch Johnson a first-time head coach? I personally haven't followed his career as much. I don't know if he was like part of the Spurs like coaching mafia and then he kind of got promoted, but I don't know what his backstory is. But if it is his first job, he's doing a phenomenal job, which goes without saying.
99% it's his first job because I had no idea who he was before.
I think he was an assistant coach. He was on the coaching staff. He took over when Greg Popovich stepped away last year. This is his first full season.
But yeah, he was. I'm just checking right now. He was an assistant coach for 5 years. So I mean, he grew up in that. But I think really, I mean, the Spurs have a lot of good problems. I mean, like worst case, they got this round, they lose to the Thunder, they come back next year. But the Wolves, man, I think this series has a lot of implications because I mean, you got to look at Ants now. He started to taste being a contender for a couple years. I think they've reached their ceiling with Gobert, and I think it's starting again. I know the West is the West, but you could have used Cat as more of that point center offensive threat against a team like the Spurs versus Gobert. He's great at defense, but you gave up 4 draft picks for him, and you're kind of stuck in this situation where like I don't know how they get better. And hey, maybe I love Jaden McDaniels, but maybe you got to package some of these folks up to throw your hat in the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes, the Giannis sweepstakes, or even Mr. Burner himself, if you can get him on a discount, just to give Ant some more help. Off 2 knee injuries, he's still having to be like they're still needing him to be 100%. and that consistent support isn't there from the rest of the team. And I mean, he's not trying to lose, so there is pressure, I think, this offseason, assuming this goes the way we think it does.
Yeah, it's their offseason is going to be interesting. Rudy Gobert, I mean, his career is unfolded almost predictably, right? He's such a floor raiser, especially in the regular season. You can almost guarantee the team is going to win 45 plus games just because his defense and his just shot blocking ability will give you that amount of safety, that net safety, especially amongst regular season games where not everybody can match exactly what they're doing and take advantage of his deficiencies, especially on the offensive end, right? And every single playoffs, like clockwork, his stuff gets kind of exposed, and it only happens when he gets to the second round or a little deeper than that, right? And that's kind of what's been happening. So he'll get you there. He'll get you to the doorstep, but he won't guide you through it. And that's what I think they were kind of hoping Anthony Edwards or some of these other guys would kind of urge him towards it. Now, yeah, I totally agree with you. Imagine Karl Anthony Towns without Julius Randle on his team, right? I think they would be in much better shape because he gives them a much more bigger boost, I should say, in terms of offensive, like just gusto more than anything, as well as secondary playmaking. The Knicks are thriving on all that. The Randall thing just hasn't worked out, especially in the offseason or the postseason. The regular season was very good, very, very good. It's just they need some point guard play.
Yeah, I guess Biggie. I mean, I know they tried to save taxes with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but you could have used someone like him again. I know, obviously, Dante being out hurts, but I don't think he single-handedly is the difference. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's a huge part of why they went to the conference finals. I don't remember the exact games, but there was a ton of times he just kept them in the game. And like he's a veteran like savvy guard, but obviously it's a business. But I guess what's your thoughts on the Wolves and kind of that loss too?
I mean, I think the Wolves, to be honest, are like 2-3 years transition away from being like a legitimate contender threat. Just because like the moves that they can potentially make right now doesn't make them that next year, right? And so they need to add some more pieces, younger pieces around Anthony Edwards. And you got Anthony Edwards for quite a bit now. So you can take a step back instead of trying to compete in a era where like Thunder and like Spurs kind of have it figured out right now with the current roster. Maybe take a 2-year break where you're still in the playoffs, you're still contending, but you're tweaking the roster over those 2 years, right? One step might be just to, if you want to contend, but then get away with get some of these contracts off your books, and fall under tax 2 years from now, 2 years from now, and being open for free agency. A move that they can look at is maybe move Gobert and couple of these pieces to get Kevin Durant in Minnesota. Because what that's going to do for you is it's going to give you a guy who's probably got 2 years left in the tank. He can be a secondary player to Anthony Edwards right now, but after that, he's gone. And like that whole cap space frees up. So now you're looking at a good free agency market in 2027, 2028, where like you got a star player like Anthony Edwards to attract free agents, right? It's not just about the city of Minnesota. You got a star player there. So there's going to be people who are willing to come in, join forces with him. So that's one direction they can go in. I just don't think that they can get a Jaylen Brown or a Giannis with the current pieces that they have and the lack of draft picks that they have.
I think they tried to get Giannis over the trade deadline. There was a lot of
they
smoke out there
tried,
that
but
they were one of the dark horse teams.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just don't think they had the pieces for it.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll see. We'll see what it goes for. But yeah, I mean, the series is not over yet. Let's see how it plays out. But definitely want to shift gears into the more climatic and the suspenseful game 5, which was today. And I will be the first to admit I always joke, and the joke still might be valid, that James Harden and Donovan Mitchell's insurance in the playoffs ends around mid-May. Given it's May 13th, there's about 2 more days, so it still might, but they pulled some stops, and I will let our 2 insiders break it down. I did not watch the game as much.
Viggy, why don't you start off this time?
Yeah, I mean, like it goes back to kind of how we reacted after game 4. Towards the end of it, we saw a different Cavs side. We saw Harden and Mitchell being the type of guys they needed to be for the team to win, right? Today, I think, what ended up happening was Harden was great through the course of the second half, made all the right plays. Mobley stepped up. Phases where Pistons were ready to put this game away, but Mobley was there. He hit some key 3-pointers, so that was crucial. That's another thing that we've been harping on. We've been a little bit disappointed in Mobley's performance so far in the playoffs. I think the consensus is that a lot of people had higher expectations, and he's not leveled up to that. But today he was pretty good. And then it got to overtime, and then Donovan Mitchell made some crucial plays. That 3-point shot, Strauss got that steal, and then Donovan Mitchell layup. I think there they kind of opened up enough space for them to maintain that lead the rest of the way. If the Cavs play like this, if Jared Allen can throw his body around and trouble Durant, one thing that we know about Durant is that he struggles with size, he struggles with length when he can't absolutely bully someone, which he can when you're talking about 30 different teams and you probably bully 25 teams. But when it comes up those 5 teams that have that length, like a Thunder, the Magic, the Cavs, the Twin Towers, and then even the Spurs are pretty long, pretty physical. Like these type of teams, I think, like Minnesota. I think this is where the road kind of ends for Durant. Now we go back to Cade Cunningham having to do everything. That's what happened tonight. He did great. Like I didn't really think he played horrible, but you just can't win in the second round in today's today's game without like 2 star players or at least 1 star player and one person who is going to have valuable production.
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons blew this game. They had it, and they just could not put them away. They could not hit open shots. At the end, what the Cavs were doing is they were just doubling Cade up top, and he would kick it out, and there was no one to hit the three-pointer that was open. And in that sense, I think they missed Duncan Robinson, who was injured for
I
this
was just
game.
about to say, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Dennis Jenkins came in, he played well, but you need that knockdown shooter, and that's one thing that everybody knew coming into the postseason. The Pistons were devoid of shooting, and that may stick their ugly head out in the playoffs, and that's kind of what's happening right now. Now, Mitchell did not have a great game. All credit goes to Asar Thompson. Very, very impressive defense. But Harden he kept them in it in the beginning of the game, and he helped them pull away at the end of the game, especially with some Max Strus and Evan Mobley coming in clutch. Max Strus has been, he's been such a key player throughout these playoffs for these guys, hitting clutch threes, playing defense on Cade, as well as just being a solid rebounder. He had just countless plays where he kept them in it, brought them back, and it's very, very impressive. This is the kind of poise that they needed for like a team that has been struggling in the playoffs. So very, very impressive. We'll see if Donovan Mitchell can kind of turn back to his game 4 antics. He was probably a little tired after putting up a playoff career high in the second half during the last game, but they got a couple days to rest up. It should be a barn burner coming up because Pistons are backs against the wall.
Yeah, I saw that they play Friday. I think they get one more day, but yeah, I mean, dude, hey, if Max Strus ever chose a game to go 6 of 8 from 3 and like 8 rebounds, that was a perfect game. And yeah, I mean, we gotta address the elephant in the room, dude. I mean, Jalen Duren. We talked about people who lost themselves some money. Jalen Duren is doing Detroit a solid discount. But I mean, it also looks like Tobias Harris was human. He was not Kobe Bryant, regressing to the mean. I mean, I think they've gone away with Cade playing at all NBA level, which he hasn't, dropped 30 points. The others is kind of rounding out, the support, but there hasn't been a definitive number 2. And I think, Duncan Robinson has actually been pretty good in the playoffs. I'm missing that spacing on the floor bit him in the butt. Because I mean, hey, we were the group chat, and I saw the group chat, and I saw the Cavs were down 9, 2 minutes or 3 minutes up. I'm like, yep, Cancun. I already got my thumbnail for James Harden on Friday. We've seen this story too many times, but yeah, I mean, the Cavs. We talked about Strus and Mobley had to step up. They made some great plays. So now the question is, the pressure's obviously on the Pistons to keep the season alive, but I will say honestly, it's on the Cavs to close this out because again, we've seen play with your food, game 7s, anything can happen, rolled ankle, Jenkins turns into Klay Thompson, or some random manifestation can end your season. We'll see if the Cavs can build on this and make it 4 straight. But I guess if you're Detroit, like what else can you do? Like I think the only thing I was thinking of, can you start Reed and Duren just to go double bigs to match? Like, is that something you can do? I mean, if I'm the Cavs, do I just double Cade off the start? Like, shit, I don't even let him get a shot. If you're gonna beat us with twos and we can hit some threes, it'll even itself out. But yeah, how are you guys thinking about this game 6?
Yeah, I mean, Paul Reed, B-ball Paul, just coming. He played well. The other guys were just stiffs, and they could not do anything on offense, and it was affecting their gameplay. and he gave them energy. He was a little erratic at times throwing the ball away, but maybe I don't. It's just, you can't start Paul Reed, right? Come on, how can you bench Duran? That's crazy. I mean, I understand he's 22 years old,
Both. I
but
was saying
he's
you go double
young.
big. Like start both. Just to
I
switch it up.
guess
Just switch up
just
the
to switch
looks
it
for
up,
like a
go a
couple
little
minutes. Yeah.
bigger, go just start bigger. Yeah, I guess you can do that to try to match up with the other guys. It's yeah, it's double big, and I think what should end up happening is maybe you switch SR Thompson onto Mitchell, onto Harden for the first half, and then Mitchell for the second half. So I think what's been happening is Harden gets off to a pretty good start and keeps the Cavs in the game in the beginning, and then the other people kind of take over and help out at the end. That's at least happened in Game 4, right? So maybe you move him around instead of keeping him on one player to try to disrupt people's rhythms. And I just think you have to go down swinging in a certain sense. I think you have to play Duran a little bit more, especially at the end. When you have the lead, I feel like he is pretty good at keeping the defense locked in, as well as although kind of mechanical, his offense is a little more predictable. So I don't know if they stuck with B-ball Paul a little too long and let them come back in. So it's just it'll be fascinating to see what Cade and the guys.
Viggy, how you? I mean, unfortunately, your team experienced blowing a 32 lead. I mean, ironically enough, Detroit should feel comfortable because they just did this last series. In their eyes, they just got to win one road game. They just got to get even with Cleveland and is back at their crib for Game 7, where they know Morgantown's going to pull through. Eminem might perform at halftime. Like we could look back to this a couple days from now. I'm like, hey, they did the bare minimum to get to the next round, but they got there. So I guess, what do you think Detroit got to do different on the road this game coming up?
I mean, so I don't think this came down to Detroit necessarily. I mean, apart from Kate Cunningham having to carry a lot of the offensive load, the things that we saw the Pistons do really well tonight was they actually played really good defense. In that first half, they forced a lot of turnovers. Oh my God, I can't talk to you. They forced a lot of turnovers. They got a lot of fast breaks. They did a good job. And even in the second half, like they got a couple of really good blocks. That stadium, I think it was, we were texting, and I think it was Anush who pointed out, everyone was on pins and needles, I believe was what he said. And then, like, those couple of blocks, those couple of plays really got the arena going again. So, like, on a defensive end, they did everything right. What did go right for them really was the Cavs hitting some big 3-point shots. So, what happens in game 6, I think, depends a lot on that. If the Cavs can hit the 3-point shots, I think the Cavs take it, especially at home. Every shot is going to be double the points at home because, like, you got the fans also into it. You got the vibes going. So, like, I think it comes down to whether they can hit the 3-point shots. And, if the Cavaliers can do that, if Max Strus doesn't have to go 6 for 8, even if he can go 3 for 8, and like Harden can hit a couple of 3-pointers, Donovan Mitchell can hit a couple, and then Mobley hits a couple, like if they can hit anywhere between 10 to 15 3-point shots in game 6, I think that changes the whole dynamic because then what ends up happening is it spreads out the Pistons defense and allows people like Harden and Mitchell to attack the basket. Whereas right now, they're kind of like choking them out of the lane right now. And the 3-point shots are only making break up. And today and the last game, the Cavs did a pretty decent job of hitting those threes where they needed to, and they need to do that in game 6 to survive. I think the Pistons are very much in it. I think it's a 50-50 game. This is going to be very much like game 7 of first round for Cleveland Cavaliers. It was a 50-50 toss-up game that the Cavaliers found a way to win just because they're at home. I think it's going to come down to that too. If the Cavaliers can stick with it till the final couple of minutes and they can keep their fans engaged, they might have the edge. But if the Pistons can come out and play the way they play, and hopefully somebody else get going apart from Kate Cunningham, the Pistons still have a fair shot. They're not out of it. I wouldn't say just because Cleveland's going back home, it's over. But I would have to. I mean, I've been after game 4. I said I wouldn't be surprised if Cavaliers win in 6 after this because they hit that switch and they continue that today too. So we'll see. We'll see. It's a tough one to call, but I'm leaning towards Cleveland.
For sure. Anush, I was going to ask real quick, man. I guess
Yeah,
because you saw the game a little more than I did. Cavs had 18 more free throws. So again, I didn't watch. Did that seem like the Cavs played with more force? Is that a fair narrative, or do you think it's kind of evening out? Because I know the Cavs couldn't get a whistle the first couple games, and the refs are maybe to JB Bickerstaff's unlike getting more calls, or do you think they just play with more force toward the end?
definitely played with more force, especially attacking the rim. And then, I mean, Harden, I think he had two 3-pointers that were fouled, so he had 6 right off the bat there. So I mean, they took it to them. They took it to them. But the longer the series goes, the more you worry about James Harden. He's always good for the stats and the whatever before the series gets too long, right? And then when it comes down to clutch time, he's got to clinch the series or it's game 7. He starts disappearing. So it's the longer the series goes, I think they got to take it in 6 or else they're in trouble. That's Harden's history is just overwhelming. He's been
Yeah.
good. He's been good, but best predictor of future performance is prior performance. And we got a long sample size for James Harden.
Yeah, and the pressure's on Mitchell too. You gotta say this is his first time to close out a second round series and go to the conference finals. So I mean, the last time he was this close was the Jazz. I think the Jazz Clippers series I told you guys about during the pandemic time, where Kawhi goes down, Paul George has a great game
George.
5, and then Terrence Mann shoots the lights out. They lose in game 6. So we all knew against the Celtics his first year in Cleveland, or second year, because I think they lost to the Knicks in the first round, and then the next year they lost to Celtics in 5. We knew they weren't beating them, and then last year, for whatever reason, the whole team was injured against the Pacers. So this is like their best shot to get to the conference final. So I hope for his sake they take it. But to Biggie's point, Detroit kind of just been there, done that. So they just need honestly like something from everyone to bring, and I think it'll be a competitive game. So we'll see. I don't expect Cleveland blowing a 20-point lead though. That was crazy. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a little closer.
Yep. It's gonna be fun Friday night.
For sure. And I think, Viggy, since I think you, unfortunately, Orlando Internet did not bless you towards the end, you didn't get a chance to go through our new Cabo section where we welcome the Lakers, JJ Redick, Rob Pelinka. They made their way to Cabo. So I think they started sending some pictures in the group chat with Booker and a couple other folks. So, I mean, any thoughts in that series? I don't think anyone expected the Lakers to do anything there, but I guess, well, how did you think the Thunder looked against a severely undermanned team? And do you think they're poised to repeat, like at least get to the finals again? Or do you think they might be caught slipping because Jalen Williams is still, I don't think he's cleared to play yet. So depending on how this series ends and when the series starts, he might be out till game 2, game 3. So that might be enough to swing it the other way, either way.
I mean, let's be honest. When Game 7 of NBA Finals started last year, it looked like the Pacers were going to win the championship, right? And then Tyrese Halliburton's Achilles goes out. So we don't even know if they have D1 in order for them to repeat, right? So I still have my question mark with the whole Thunder team and so forth. Let me see if they can, first of all, get past the Wolves or Spurs, whoever comes out of this series. And after that, like, we're looking on the East, and you look at New York's situation right now, it's like a blessing because whoever wins the next series, they're coming from both these teams play a 7-game series in the first round, and they're playing a very hard fought series right now. So I think the Knicks are going to breeze through the next round as well. So I think the Knicks are going to be quite healthy and primed to put on a show in the NBA Finals. So, I mean, Knicks, Thunder, that's also going to be a little bit of a tough one for me. Like, I don't even know if I'm completely sure I'm putting them past the Spurs, but even if they get past that, I don't know about the Knicks. We'll have to see. I'm not confident on a repeat. They could prove me wrong, but I want to go back to start of the season where they had that one crazy run, a crazy winning streak, and people are like, "Oh my God, could this be like them beating the record again? Can they get?" And then they lost like 4 straight, right? And the other thing is that their
Yeah.
first two losses after that huge streak were both to San Antonio. They played really bad in the regular season against San Antonio. They matched up really poorly. And it goes back to kind of what's happening at Duran, right? Duran dominates when there's no size, right? And the Thunder are kind of similar. Like, they got length and size to bully teams, but then when you come across like a Wemby, where like he can shoot over you at any time and like Jalen Foster can get by you, Castle can be physical. To Anusha's point from before, we saw what he's doing in this series on a defensive end and an offensive end. He's playing physical as hell. So like, I don't know if I can put the Thunder past the Spurs either, so we'll see.
Absolutely. I mean, just a couple more things. This week off, the Thunder swept the Lakers and the Knicks swept the Sixers. Both of those teams, the winning teams, have very, very important hamstrings that are getting very, very key rest right now. OG Anunoby on the Knicks and Jalen Williams on the Thunder. Those guys, I mean, this time off is instrumental, and those two players are going to be instrumental in both of the title runs, right? So this rest is much needed. As Viggy said, the other teams are beating themselves up, and those guys are sitting back and waiting. And you hope that I mean, at the end of the day, you hope all teams are healthy and you get to see the matchup in its full form, right? And you don't want any injuries and things like that. So just wanted to kind of add that in.
Absolutely, it's only fit in the doc, gives us the insight. But yeah, I think I was just saying, yeah, because I don't know. So I'm looking at the reports now. There's no clear indication that like Jalen Williams is like started basketball activities.
Yeah.
I think at least for OG, I think there was some footage that leaked that like he's shooting around. God bless. Hopefully he's ready to go for game 1 or game 2. But yeah, I mean, because I'm looking at Shea's stats versus Spurs this year. Again, take it with a grain of salt. He's shooting decent. I mean, obviously 50% from the field, but his 3-pointers is terrible. I'm sure that's to do with Spurs schematics. And again, AJ Mitchell and Jared McCain, they look like the second coming of, trying to think, like Paul George and like, like just these perimeter guard, or even Jamal Crawford, where they lit up the Lakers. But again, Austin Reeves, not really known for being a perimeter defender. Like some of these other guys, Luke Kennard is not a defender. So you drop him 30 against him is great. It's going to come down to, especially with Williams' health, can those guys, the others, perform at a high level? Because the Spurs defense is stout. Like, they're probably the best defensive team in the NBA, I would say. It's like over the Knicks. So, not getting ahead of ourselves, but assuming it's the collision course that we talked about, can Chet, can these other guys be a threat offensively consistently to win 4 games in a 2-week stretch? I don't know that we haven't seen that yet. I expect Shea to be Shea. I think even the Spurs may bait him into trying to play hero ball and beat him. Because if you're going to have Shea shoot 30 shots a game, and if he beats you, he beats you. But I don't think he can do that 4 times against this team and win. So I'm curious how you guys are thinking these others are going to show up against the Spurs if it is, in fact, that conference finals matchup.
I think it comes down to 2s and 3s. Who's going to be the number 2? Is it going to be Jalen Williams? Is AJ Mitchell going to be able to step up and fulfill the secondary role? Is Jalen Williams going to be healthy? So that's the 2 part. And then it's the 3s. 2 losses that you were talking about in the middle of the season against the Spurs actually came down to a lot of missed threes. If you look at it, they had, I don't know if it was horrible 3-point shooting luck versus the defense from the Spurs, but they just missed all their threes. And that's why they got slaughtered. And a lot of people are giving credit to Wemby and all that stuff, but maybe they just had 2 bad 3-point shooting nights. So eventually the odds will shift back and the laws of averages will even out, but makes you think. We saw with the Celtics, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. And the Thunder are kind of along the same vein without advertising it as much as the Celtics. So especially against the Spurs, if that's something to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing
Viggy, what's your thoughts? I know, obviously, okay.
Sorry. The one thing I'll add is the other thing with the Spurs is we really haven't seen Darren Fox play what he was playing in Sacramento, right? It's been a totally different. I mean, he played really well in the regular season. He had some of those games where he was dropping them. But in the playoffs, he's been subdued. He's not exploded yet. So we'll have to wait and see if we have a couple of performances from him in the Western Conference Finals. But maybe his feet is wet and we can expect something else from him. There are a lot of tangibles in this whole thing, so it'll be fun. Definitely gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think too, because the MVPs haven't been announced yet. So assuming if that, I think either way, Wemby is juiced to play the Thunder. He's openly dissed them, saying, "Hey, we beat them 4 out of 5 times. I play both ends." I think this series he will be on for all 7 games. If you've noticed, again, it's still growing pains. He's had games where I forget you're on the court, and then there's games where I'm I don't even want to play because you're playing. So I think he'll be juiced for this series either way. So I think he's going to be a problem. I don't know how Chet stops him. So I think it's going to come down to, because even the Pacers last year, they were a good defensive team. I will say the Spurs, the 3 guards, like Fox, Castle, Harper, they can get up in you. And I do think they can make Shea's life miserable, especially if the refs don't blow a favorable whistle at times. I'm not saying I think he did have to go hooper, but hey, sometimes superstars get superstar treatment. I'll leave it to that. So it could get ugly. It can get ugly quick. So
absolutely. Let's see here. Should we talk about the how we think the Knicks are going to match up with one of these 2 teams coming up?
Yeah, let's do it. I think for them, or go ahead. Yeah,
I mean, I just wanted to say, who do you think they want to play out of these 2 teams?
Probably the Cavs, dude. Dude, you just go get James Harden in the playoffs, man. You take that. You take that 7 days a week, man. It's no joke. No, the
Yeah.
reason why I say it is I think the Pistons, if you looked at what gave them problems last time, Asari Thompson's phenomenal defensively. The Knicks sometimes they just, for whatever reason, they struggle with getting the ball across the court and just turnovers. And so I do think because again, the first two teams they played, like one just didn't have an experience, the other team was just a bad matchup. I think the Pistons just provide a level of physicality that the Cavs don't, but at the same time, too, they're very Cade dependent. I do think Cade's gotten better since last year, and we don't know about OG's health, so I think it's harder to guard someone like Cade, who's like 9 and is an all-around player. So that's probably why I would say they want the Cavs. But the Cavs, too, at the same time, if they pull this off, they're going to have momentum. And I don't know if you can hide Jalen Brunson on either Harden or Mitchell on defense. So I think either way, for them to get to the finals, they're going to need Josh Hart to perform like he did in that closeout game. Mikhail got to be solid, and the bench has to be consistent. And I still think you run the defense too. I mean, you run the offense through Cat. But if they were choosing, I think they go Cleveland.
Vicky, what do you think?
That's tough, right? I think both teams pose different type of matchups. I think the Cavs would be a little bit different against the New York Knicks in the sense that the hustle rebounds and everything that the Knicks thrive on, the Cavs can match that with Max Strus and obviously got Evan Mobley and Allen who rebound really well, and I think they can trouble Cat a bit more, the Cavs. So they can probably take Cat out of it. That's number two, and number three. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, like after the whole thing where like he could have gone to New York, but they got Brunson and they're happy with Brunson. So Mitchell, I'm sure, has a chip on his shoulder. So we don't know what he's going to bring out. With the Pistons, I think like it's a totally different. I think it's going to be a like a drawn out, physical, low scoring outfit if those two teams play, Pistons and the Knicks, because I think the Knicks are going to have to come down to just physicality, and I think a lot of the stuff that they did against the Sixers isn't going to work. So I think you're going to see a lot of like low scoring, tight matches if the Pistons and Knicks play. But I think the Knicks come out. I mean, we'll see. They have to pick. If I were the Knicks, I'd pick the Pistons.
Really, home court though. You got to remember the Knicks have had home court so far. I know they did their thing. It's ironic. They went on the road against the Celtics. They won both games, and then the next round they went over 2 at home. But I do think for them having home court now, I think gives them a better edge. Because I don't know, man. I think going down 2-1 in the conference finals, assuming they do bad on the road, it's a little bit more pressure. I think you start to hear the headlines. Hey, man, is Giannis coming to the Knicks? Is Mike Brown getting fired? So I do think for their sake, having the Cavs might be better. But I mean, Viggy brought some good points. Cat, I don't know. I think I trust Cat. I think I would say Cat's been the best performing big in the playoffs. I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, yeah, consistently. So I do take him over Mobley and Allen because Mobley sometimes his motor is just not consistent. Like he just needs he needs to jump start it like a lot more. And then Allen sometimes you forget he's on the court, dude. He's not. So I do think he can give them harder problems. I think Duren and Stewart, they just muck up the game, take some cheap shots. I think that might throw Cat off a little bit, even though he played them last year. Or no, Stewart wasn't there last series or last time they played. So that's a big difference too.
Well, one thing I'd like to point out though is like you look at the Boston Celtics, they had Vooch and Kata playing against Cat. And you look at the Sixers, Embiid missed a couple of games, so like the backup was what Drummond played most of those minutes, right? So these aren't like elite centers that Cat has gone up against. Coming up against an Allen, this is what Allen does. He puts his body into you. He's not the type of guy who's going to come and get you 20 points. He's the type of guy who's going to stop you from getting 20 points, right? So I think it's a level up as far as the center position. Cat's not going to be able to do a lot of things. He can facilitate from outside. If he's able to hit his three-pointers, he's going to do really well for Knicks overall. But it is a little bit more difficult for Cat in this series than the previous one. So that's why I was leaning a little bit more towards like, I don't know what Cat can do against the Cavs. Yeah.
I'm trying to look up their season records. But I guess, Anush, who did you say?
I don't think season records, I'm pretty sure Detroit won handedly.
Yeah, they kicked their ass.
Yeah. So that's all, again, the regular season's been very different from the postseason for the Pistons. Cavaliers, at the end of the day, it's all mental for these guys. They have so much talent 4 out of their starting 5 guys are arguably like top 10 in the league in each position, right? So it's all about, are they going to be in the right mental state to go for the kill, be consistent, and be aggressive, right? So that's all that matters. The Pistons, you know what you're getting, kind of. They faced them in the playoffs last year, and Pistons overall are just a little better in every single facet. And last year, you saw that it was a drag it out, drawn out matchup where I think it was a 6-game series, and that was the Pistons being, I think, like a 6 or 7 seed. So this time they're going to have a more experience in going up against the Knicks. Again, tough, but I would take the matchup over the Cavaliers just because they have a couple people that have not performed like Harden, especially as it gets further and further. That's just what I would do, especially after Adi brought up the point of the home court advantage being to the Knicks, especially against the Cavaliers.
Yeah, actually, look at the record again. Regular season doesn't matter at this point 'cause I'm sure there was guys missing, but I think the Knicks won that series 2-1. 2 to the Cavs versus the Pistons. They just tied their number. I don't know what it was. I know obviously they were going through like their lulls, but I do think the difference this year with the Knicks, again, Tibbs was the pioneer of the Knicks getting back to relevance, but they are more rested, like literally and figuratively. You don't have Mikal Bridges say, "Hey man, if I could catch a breather here and there, that'd be great."
Yeah,
So I mean, yeah,
absolutely.
I think everyone's just comfortable in the role. I think that's the difference. I think for the Knicks, they just really look at it like this is their shot to do something special, and so I trust them a little bit more to like act like they've been there and execute. Because I think Brunson sees it, Cat sees it. I think Mike Brown, obviously, he's won with the Warriors, and I think he's brought some changes. So I do think it's shaping up for them to be really good. But at the same time, too, Donovan Mitchell, assuming he closes out, you talk about legacy. Like, hey, you get the Cavs to the finals since LeBron. That's like Jimmy Butler-esque, where like that elevates your legacy even if you don't win it, you know. So
Absolutely.
I think either way it'll be good.
And the Knicks, they're riding high a little bit right now. Obviously, they've performed very well in the playoffs thus far, but a couple of offseason questions coming up. Mikal Bridges' his extension is going to be kicking in soon. Mitchell Robinson's a free agent this summer, and he's been pretty crucial in certain matchups and just coming in off the bench and flipping things, and especially against backups where they don't have as much size. And this guy just kind of dominates for a time and gets the Knicks back on track, even if they start slow in the beginning of the game. So he's a pretty crucial piece to this team that may not be a luxury coming up because some other team is going to throw money at him. So I'm not saying it's like a do or die or there's a lot of pressure, but it's not devoid of pressure. And as you know, how the New York market is, as Adi was saying, they're going to call for coaches' heads. They're going to call for players to be traded. And lest we forget, just I don't know, like a week and a half ago, everybody was calling Mikal Bridges the worst player for his contract in the whole league. He was not doing well. So I mean, if he kind of struggles going out, and there'll be a lot of questions for Nick. So they got to come out and perform. Those fans don't like to lose either.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say like even the Thunder have they expect to win this year and like make it to the finals. Well, it's kind of like all these questions they're gonna get answered in 2 weeks, and there's like really just it'll come down to where the Knicks are at.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about this. These windows just do not last. And I think, the Celtics being too smart and shooting too many threes, Tyrese, the Knicks stopper, being out, like kind of all these things have really kind of been favorable and in a good way. And I think the Knicks have also experienced heartbreak previous years of injuries and stuff. So I just think this is just their moment to seize. And if they don't seize it, I just don't see it because like there's always a couple big moves that just happen that none of us saw coming. And we could come back here and see like, hey, shoot, like, well, the Knicks, they might just be a playoff team. And you don't know. You really don't know. So I think for them, it's important that they seize this and, really bring that banner home.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's gonna be an interesting next round. I mean, we still have a couple games for this round left, but I'm excited to link up with you guys next time to see where the league is at. Maybe we can do a full preview of the next round without trying to guess which other exact matchups are. But it was
Next time.
good conversation today, boy.
Absolutely. No, the next episode will definitely it'll be a conference finals preview, and we'll definitely introduce some new faces to Cabo. I think it's starting to get a little crowded here, man. We might have to have the second part before can't cook too many heads. So always a pleasure, everyone. And yeah, we'll be back at it soon enough.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. See ya.
Peace.